Hello everyone, this is Jyoti once again with another video. This time the video is on one of the topics from switching, that is VLAN, Virtual LAN. So VLAN, Virtual LAN is a concept of creating smaller virtual network segments over a switch. So we'll see how VLANs are created, what is the use of creating VLANs and so on. So let's get started. VLANs, virtual LANs are virtual LAN segments created on the switch to provide security and to divide the broadcast domain of the switch. So let's get started with the database of VLANs. A VLAN that is created is 12-bit in length. The format of VLANs is VLAN.dat or DAT. The memory of the switch in which the VLANs are stored is the flash memory. The range of VLAN numbers or VLAN IDs is 0 to 4095. This is important to know while creating VLANs, that what is the range of VLAN. So this is the total range 0 to 4095, from which some are reserved VLANs and some are available VLAN IDs. So that you have to consider while creating VLANs. From which 0 is reserved for voice VLAN, 4095 is not in use, 1 and 1002 to 1005 is predefined, and 2 to 1001 and 1006 to 4094. These are the available VLAN IDs. The 2 to 1001 range is the normal range and 1006 to 4094 is the available range. Let's go ahead. Virtual LAN. So as I said, a virtual LAN or a VLAN is created to provide security. So it's a layer 2 security. It divides a single broadcast domain of a switch into multiple broadcast domains. So as we know, a switch is a single broadcast domain. All the ports of a switch are a common broadcast domain, lies under the same broadcast domain, which is VLAN 1 here. So to create multiple domains from a single broadcast domain of a switch, we can configure VLANs and bind the ports to particular VLANs. By default, all ports of the switch are in VLAN 1, as I said. This VLAN 1 is known as administrative VLAN or management VLAN. VLANs can be created from 2 to 1001. This is the normal range. It can be configured on a manageable switch only. There are two types of VLAN membership, static and dynamic VLAN membership. Here we'll be talking about the static VLAN membership. For dynamic, we need a server, or you can say a software, which is VMPS, VLAN Membership Policy Server. So we are configuring static VLANs here. Static VLANs are based on the port numbers. So we create static VLANs based on port numbers and then bind the ports to the VLANs. So the ports that belongs to the same VLAN only are able to communicate with each other. In static VLANs, we need to manually assign a port to a switch or a group of ports to a switch VLANs. Also, it is called port-based VLANs. It can be a member of single VLAN. Here we are talking about a port. A port can be a member of a single VLAN and not multiple VLANs in static VLAN membership. Whereas dynamic VLAN are based on MAC addresses of a PC, so we bind the MAC address to the VLAN. The switch then automatically assigns the ports to the VLAN. Each port can be a member of multiple VLANs. And for dynamic VLAN configuration, a software called VMPS, VLAN Membership Policy Server, is needed. To see the current VLAN information, this is how we can see. By the command show VLAN, we can see the current VLAN configuration or the information of VLANs. So it shows the default configuration of a switch which doesn't have any VLANs configured. This is by default the switch has, that is VLAN 1, which is default VLAN. It shows the status active and ports all. All the ports of the switch by default are in VLAN 1, which is the single broadcast domain of the switch. And there are some predefined VLANs, that is 1002, 3, 4, and 5. And these are some predefined VLAN numbers. So other than this, from 2 to 1001 in the normal range, we can use for creating VLANs. Then next is switch port types. When we configure switch, there are two types of ports on the switch that can be configured: access and trunk. So the difference between access port and a trunk port is that access port is the port that connects a switch to a PC, or you can say any end device. whereas the trunk port is the switch to switch or switch to router connection that we'll see later in next video. So here we are talking about VLANs. So here we'll be connecting switch to PCs or end devices or switch to switch. So two types of switch ports will be there, access and trunk. Switch to PC is access and switch to switch is the trunk port. The main difference between these is access port can carry single VLAN traffic only, whereas trunk port can carry multiple VLAN traffic. As one port is the part of one VLAN only and is responsible for carrying a single VLAN traffic in the access port. So that is the access port. Whereas when a switch sends the traffic from one switch to the another switch having the same VLAN database needs to have a trunk port connection so that multiple VLANs can travel from one switch to the another. Next, let's see the VLAN creation. So VLAN creation or configuration is done by simple steps like these, like VLAN number. This is the command VLAN ID. This is how the VLAN is created. Then in the next, you can give a name with whatever name you want. Let's say we have different departments like sales, IT, and HR. And on the switch, we want to divide the broadcast domain of the switch into different departments so that we can avoid inter-department communication, hence providing security, and we can manage the bandwidth and reduce the CPU consumption, unnecessary broadcast like that. So if sales is one department, there is another HR and there is another one also, that is IT. We do not want inter-department communication. All the hosts are connected to the same switch, different ports. We can divide the ports based on VLANs. So the ports that lies in the same VLAN only will communicate. So we can put a few ports that belongs to sales in one VLAN, the other in HR and some others in IT, like this. So this is how we can configure VLANs. For this, we have simple commands, VLAN number. So this is how you can create, like they have created VLAN 10 here. So in this slide, you can see VLAN 10, VLAN and then VLAN ID. This is a simple command to configure a VLAN. Then next command is to give a name sales. Yeah, and this VLAN is created. That's it. You can exit, create another VLAN, give a name, exit. So this is how VLANs are configured. After this, you can verify by show VLAN again. You will see VLAN 10 and VLAN 20 with these names, sales and marketing, or whatever the names you have given. You will see that. But still the switch will behave the default because we haven't assigned ports to the VLANs. There are only VLANs created, but the switch doesn't know which ports belongs to these VLANs. So that is the next step that we have to do. That is assigning membership to ports. So for assigning ports to the VLANs, what we do is we have to go to the interface. Either you can do it one by one manually by going to each interface one by one and assigning a VLAN ID to that. Or you can take a range of interface numbers. So let's say in the sales you have port number 1 to 10. So you can take interface range fast Ethernet 0 by 1 to 10 like this. So here they are showing you just individually by taking a single interface. So interface fast Ethernet 01, switch port mode access. We are configuring it access because it's a switch to PC connection. So first make it access and then switch port access VLAN and VLAN ID 10. Now by this command, this interface fast Ethernet 0 by 1 will move to VLAN 10 from VLAN 1. And the same way you can bind interface fast Ethernet 0 by 2, first make it access and then bind it to VLAN 20. After this, when you will do show VLAN, you will see VLAN 10 and 20 with the names that you have given and the port numbers that you have assigned. The same way they have done for 20, and this is how you can verify. So to verify, you can do show VLANs that will show you the VLANs that you have created, the port numbers in those VLANs. To see the switch port type, if you want to see or verify your switch port type, if it's access or trunk or whatever switch port mode it is, you can do show interface and interface number that you want to verify and switch port. This is how we can configure VLANs. Okay, so now let's do the configuration of VLANs. So for that, we'll take a switch. Let's take 2960. And If you don't know, this is Packet Tracer. If anyone doesn't know, this is Cisco Packet Tracer. This is an emulator by Cisco, which you can use for practicing your labs and configure, verify, all that, same like the real devices work. Okay, so for end devices, let's take, let's do control and select PCs. So I'm selecting 6 so that we can have 6 PCs. We'll create 3 VLANs and 2 PCs in each VLAN. And let's take a connection automatic and connect these. So this is what I was talking about, access ports. So a switch to PC has to be an access port on the switch. If I connect a switch to the switch and you have to carry multiple VLAN traffic from one switch to another, the link between the switches must be trunk. So switch to switch is a trunk and switch to PCs or end devices must be access. So let's do it again. Connect these PCs with the switch and let's see. You'll see the ports of the switch take some time and then they will come up automatically. We'll discuss that also, that why the switch ports takes time to come up. Okay, sorry, I was just trying to show you how we can configure these. Okay, so let's start this configuration. So for that, we need okay, so let's give some VLAN names here, VLAN 10 and sales. I'm writing it on the screen so that it's easier for you to keep a record of. And let's say this one is VLAN 20 and name IT. Next, we are taking VLAN 30 and name HR. Okay. Now, for that, we are taking a same network ID for all. So the network ID, let's take is 192.168.1.0/24. Okay, I got very casual in this part, lab. Sorry. Okay, let's go ahead. And in the first PC, we are taking the IP 192.168.1.1, then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So let's go ahead. It's this, and it will be default subnet mask. Next, it sometimes gets tiring, so you become so lazy even recording. Okay, 192.168.1.2, and it took the default subnet mask. When you press tab, if you want to change and use some customized subnet mask, you can change it. Okay, 192.168.1.3. One dot 4. Some of you might like to skip this part because it takes time and you might be familiar with this and easy, but I'm still doing it from scratch for the people who doesn't know how to do it and how to use Packet Tracer. Okay, that's done. So IPs are given. So before creating the VLANs, we can see as because they all, please excuse these messages from my workplace. Okay, so as we have given IPs, now we can verify by ping that how we can ping with each other because we are in the same network. So let's go ahead and go to command prompt and just type ping, and I'll ping to the other PCs 192.168.1.2. Sorry, typo, and it can ping. Next, let's see with 3, and it can ping 4, it can ping 5, can ping, and 6. So that means all the PCs can communicate with each other, all can ping to each other. Now what we want is, we do not want this. We want only the PCs that belongs to the same VLAN should communicate with each other, should ping, but not with the other VLANs. That means PC 1 and 2 in VLAN 10 are in sale, so only these two should communicate. PC 3 and 4, like the number I'm using, in VLAN 20 should communicate with each other only and not with the others, although they are in the same network. So for that, we have to create VLAN. So by this, what will happen? We will divide the broadcast domain of the switch, which is single by default, into multiple broadcast domains, and hence we can provide security and a lot of other benefits like managing bandwidth, CPU consumption, unnecessary broadcast, and so on. Let's get started. We have to go to the configuration mode of the switch and configure VLAN. So we want VLAN 10. You can see on the screen here we have VLAN 10, 20, 30, and the names are these. So VLAN 10 name is sales. Exit. VLAN 20 name for VLAN 20 is IT. I'm taking in capitals. Exit. VLAN 30 name HR, and it's done. Now I'll just save it and show you. Show VLAN. In this slide I showed you the default also. So let me just maximize it and show you. By default you have only VLAN 1. So it shows you VLAN 1 and all the ports in VLAN 1 and these predefined VLANs. But now as we have configured these VLAN 10, 20 and 30, so you can see it here. So VLAN 10, 20 and 30 with their names, sales, IT, HR respectively are here. But still the PCs are all able to communicate with each other. Why? Because the ports are still in VLAN 1. They are in the same VLAN. We want to move the ports 1, 2 in sales, 3, 4 in IT, and 4, 5, 6, I guess, in HR. So for that, we have to do the next step, that is assigning port numbers to the VLANs. So for that, let's go to the switch, configuration mode, and so the interface numbers are F01, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6, like this. So we have to take interface. So as in the slide, we just saw that it is done individually. We can also take range. So as we can take a range here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are in a range. So we can put range F0, 1, 2, 2. So we do not have to do it one by one for each. Then the next step is switch port mode access. Switch port access VLAN and the VLAN number. So we want port 1 and 2 in VLAN 10, and that we have done by creating access port and then assigning it to VLAN 10. Same way, let's just exit and take interface range F0, 3 to 4. And for range F0 and switch port access. The second, what's the problem with the VLAN 30? So all the port assignment is done. We can just verify again by show VLAN, and you can see we have VLAN 10, 20 and 30 with these port numbers. F0, 1 and 2 in sales, 3, 4 in IT, 5, 6 in HR, and that's done. One more verification command I told you was to verify if you want to see the switch port type. Let's say I want to see what is interface F01 switch port. So it will show you it's a static access. Yeah, if it's a trunk, it will show you it's static trunk or dynamic trunk and all that. So here we have done the verification. Now let's check by ping. What should happen now? These two PCs which are in the same VLAN should ping each other, but not the other. Same for each. Let's go to first PC run the ping command, and it's 192.168.1.1, and we have to ping 1.2. So 192.168.1.2 can ping, but it should not be able to ping the others 3, 4, 5, and 6. Let's see. Okay, so it cannot ping the others. That's because they are in a different VLAN, and you can see request timeout. Same way you will see all others. If you want to ping these, it will not work. And that's what we want. Same way, let's see in VLAN 30. So we have IP 192.168.1.6. Let's ping 5, 192.168.1.5, and it can, sorry, how can I forget ping? Okay, and it can ping. So it can ping the PC which is in the same VLAN, but let's see if we can ping the PC in a different VLAN, say 3, which is not in the same VLAN, so it should not ping. And that's what we want. So this is how you can create VLANs, you can verify, and by creating VLANs, you can provide security and divide the broadcast domain of the switch into multiple broadcast domains depending on the number of VLANs. So this was the video on basic concepts about VLANs and basic configuration of VLANs. Thank you for joining, and in the next video, probably we'll be doing inter-VLAN routing and trunking. We will see. Thank you so much.